What up, y'all? It's your boy Kool McCain back in the building. I wasn't on the scene last week, but the squad held it down. They didn't need me like that. I just be around, you know what I'm saying? But I'm back in the building this week. Eagles Elite Podcast, right? Whew. Big win on Sunday. That boy Saquon. All I'm gonna say is that boy Saquon. Talk about the rest later. We know what it is. We know what's happening. We sliding up. Shout out to the Dallas Cowboys for helping us and hurting yourselves. Good look. We always enjoy that, right? Commanders, you commandered. I'm just saying. And the Giants, definitely are the opposite of their name. That is what it is. I mean, nothing else to say about that for real. But got some interesting stuff to talk about. I'll catch up on the playoffs, what's happening in the division, of course, because the division is very important. You know what I'm saying? Very important. And also, we had a game last week. We got a game this week. Got to praise some players. Got to get some people to work. That's how it goes. It's the good, the bad, and the ugly. That's what we do here on the Eagles Elite Podcast. In the building with me, y'all host from last week, Wyatt. What's up, Wyatt?
It's going cool. What's going on, Eagles Nation? You know, we got a big win against them Rams. You know, a lot of news to talk about, good and bad, unfortunately, but I'm ready to get into it.
You already know. And then, of course, what would the show be without the diva? On mute like I'm Miss Diva.
My bad. What did it do?
There you
y'all?
go.
Glad we got that W. Ready to talk about it. Get into it. Yeah, change the background.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I see a 2 on one shoulder and I see a 6 on the other shoulder.
Oh.
Let's go. Let's go.
I need to give me one of them.
Let's go.
I told y'all in the chat I had to go get that.
Let's go.
You already know.
And bringing back, hopefully we get the intensity from the Boomster. Benny Boom in the building. What up, Benny?
West Philly in the house, rocking this Barkley jersey. You know how we do. That's right. That's right. That's right.
Yo,
Mr. 255, man. Mr. 302 coming in the house.
I gotta get one of them.
Come on, man. I got 3 of them.
Yes, sir.
I got the Kelly green, I got the midnight green, and I even got the black.
Oh wow, okay.
Come on, man. I'm Penn State, man.
That makes sense.
I'm Penn State. And even got the 26. For people that don't know, make sure y'all know it is Barkley. Okay? Not Sanders, but I do have Mr. Sanders jersey too when he played for us.
I do have one of those.
Because he's Penn State.
But anyway, hey, you're the only person who cares about Penn State, sir. But maybe Wyatt does. I don't.
Nah.
Hey.
Philly.
You're the only person who cares about Penn State. Yeah.
But
Saquon's release began when he put on Eagles green. Until then, after then, Miles Sanders. I'm just saying. Philly's in the building. She says, "What's good? I'm running a little bit behind."
So Philly.
You still the first one with the comment, Philly.
Yeah.
And then she says, "Hi, Benny."
Hey, Philly.
All right, good people. I mean, it's not frontal lobe surgery or anything of that extent, but we do got to get right so that we can get right. Let's go.
The kick is away, and the kick it's good! And the Eagles win!
It's hard to come to South Philadelphia and leave here with the win. You just don't come to Philadelphia and leave here with the win.
Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you. Let the celebration begin!
right, y'all. I don't know about you, but I feel a little bit more, hyped up after that, like every week. All right. Y'all know where we starting at. Eagles updates. Why? I know last week you had to step a chair over and everything, but what's up, man? What you got for us?
Yeah, we'll start with some of the bad news first. We got a couple players on the IR now. Starting with Bryce Huff. He's on the IR officially. He's been dealing with that. I believe it was a wrist injury since before the trade deadline. He even played a couple games, just limited snaps. But I guess it was bad enough he needed surgery. They moved him to IR. And of course, as everybody knows probably right now, our guy BG tore his triceps during this game against the Rams, and he is officially out for the rest of the season. Had one of his best games of the season, and also overall had a great season leading up to this point as well. So, I mean, it's terrible to see him go out like that, especially in a year he was expecting to retire.
Hurt piece.
Only thing I'm gonna say about that is, don't retire, BG. Come back. Don't go out being hurt. Don't be Charles Barkley. You know what I'm saying? Come back, do another year. And let's do this thing. One more year, BG. You were talking about it already before you got hurt. One more year, let's go, baby.
Yeah.
Vic said he can't quit. Vic said he can't quit an incomplete year. So Vic
I saw that.
Man, I feel where Nick coming from, but it's Nick. You know what I'm saying?
No,
that's all I'm gonna say right now.
Yeah, Vic.
Vic.
Vangio,
Vic.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said Nick. My bad. Yeah, Vic. You tell him, Vic.
Dude's a soldier, though. He was out there practice today, which is crazy.
Yeah, he said he was going to be. I saw an interview. He said he was going to be out there, and basically, like, keeping the team hyped up. He's going to be talking smack to the other team from the sideline and all that. He want to keep his energy. Involved with the team.
You can't. A guy like BG, being here for 15 years, you really think he's going to have this injury and then just sit home? That ain't happening. I feel him. I was watching his, he was on a WIP podcast the other day. Well, yesterday, man. Just to see him sit there and cry on the air, man, because he know he feel like he's letting his teammates down and letting the city down. Look, man, we all know this game is dangerous. Injuries going to happen. But you gave us everything you had for 15 years. Everybody charmed in and said, never felt like you letting us down. Just get well and come back and give it one more shot before you really hang it out. Don't let this game be your last game. So we showing him that love. We showing him the appreciation, that we have for him. Even when he first got here. We
everywhere.
He's a warrior.
He's a warrior. You know what I'm saying? A warrior. Why would us for us?
Just some signings, just due to everybody going on IR. I mean, that's two defensive players on the defensive line that are injured. So they end up bringing a couple guys in. Ended up bringing Charles Harris off the waivers and signed KJ Henry to the practice squad, as well as they released DT Siaka Ika, who I mentioned last week, who ended up signing, and a wide receiver Marcus Rosemy Jackson, which is a crazy name. But they ended up releasing that dude. But we picked up a couple DEs that we needed, so hopefully it ended up working out. I believe the one dude was from the Panthers who had like 4 sacks in 9 games. Like it's intriguing that he was dropped.
That's Harris.
Yeah, I was gonna say what's funny about it is the Panthers seem to have released like their top 4 sack getters for the season at different points in the season.
Crazy.
So thank you, Panthers, because I mean, you just want to help us by giving us a guy who got something to prove on a much better team.
Yeah,
all I can say is good look.
The topic of the article said, now I can see what it feels like to be with a team with a winning culture.
Mm-hmm. That helps. And also having players like Carter and Davis and all these other guys on the line, these studs that can kind of help them out in a way. It's not going to be all on them.
Right.
Anything else? I ain't seen nothing else.
The only other news I have is just that Saquon once again got NFC Offensive Player of the Week for the
What's
fourth
that,
time.
number 4?
Yep.
And once again, Saquon got drug tested right after the game.
Of course, you know. That's what happens.
That's how it is.
Yes, sir.
Nobody else in the league would, anybody else would have that type of game. They ain't gonna drug test him. But since it's from the Eagles, he can fill it up.
Anybody, I don't know, man. Anybody have 255 yards as a running back? You could be on
Derrick
the
Henry had that 200-yard game.
That's a lot of yards.
He's on his way for a historic season, man. I can't.
Yeah.
It's crazy to see what could happen possibly.
This ain't gonna be the last time you get tested either.
Probably not. Probably not.
And don't let them go. Don't let them have the number 1 seed in that first playoff game, and he go crazy.
Well, if they had a number 1 seed, the good news is we won't have to play in the first playoff game.
No, I'm saying that first playoff game we have. We get the number 1 seed, that first playoff game, he gonna go crazy because he never experienced this. And then he's gonna be right there. And then he's gonna be right here at the link. He's gonna see a different side of the fans at the link in the playoffs atmosphere than the regular season atmosphere.
But we got to get there first, though. We got to get there first. We ain't there quite yet.
One game at a time.
We got the Lions got to lose some games. If we both win out, we short.
Oh, they losing tomorrow.
I mean, we can feel like they're gonna lose, but until they actually lose, they ain't lost.
I'm calling.
But you know what? We ain't here talking about no Lions. We ain't talking about no Lions. Piss on them. There's only one other time that we bring them up on the show, and that's when we're talking about positioning. So, my good people, we have discussed the news. Y'all got any other news? Drop it in the comments, and we'll go ahead and throw that in there as well.
Oh, there is one rumor. Shaq Barrett.
Well, he has come out of retirement, so we'll see how that plays.
Yeah, Miami owns his rights. But Howie is making that call, trying to figure out how we can get. I think he talked to his agent.
But I don't think you can. I mean, the trade deadline's passed, so I don't think there's a way.
They would have to release him, and he would have to clear waivers.
Yeah. You have to release him and clear waivers before we'd be able to get him because we don't own his rights.
Mm-hmm.
Candy McDaniel in the building. Hello, Candy. Candy says BG was at practice today. We're gonna need his energy every day.
Exactly.
Candy also says the interview tore me up. Yeah, I saw snippets of it. I didn't get to see the whole thing. I saw snippets and it was tough. And then Candy says, unlike the past DCs, I trust Fangio to figure this out.
Mm-hmm.
I agree, Candy. I agree because I feel like Fangio, and I mean, I was saying this even when we weren't looking good. I mean, I got my receipts. I said Fangio is the guy. He's going to give him some time to get this team where he needs his team to be. He's a proven commodity at defensive coordinator. A lot of these guys that come along, flash in the pan guys, they got this one system. They had a great team where they had a lot of guys that just happened to fit the system that they want. Vic been around long enough where he's ran the same theoretically defense, but he's had to deal with all types of players, right? He's got experience. He's got understanding. He got an eye. He's never worried about being a head coach. The thing that makes the best D coordinators, in my opinion, is the guys who I don't care about being a head coach. That's cool. If that come along in 10 years after I've established myself as a coordinator, cool, but I ain't really worried about that.
Exactly.
I'm worried about having the best defense in the league every year. That's your best defensive coordinators. Guys who just want to be defensive coordinators. You know what I'm saying? Not saying guys shouldn't want to be head coaches, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to be a head coach, but them dudes are just like them OGs that's still just a DC that you know have had the opportunity and want it. That's the guys you want. And we finally got one, the one we had since the late great, the great Jim Johnson. We got another one of those type of mentality dudes. That's why they defense. But I digress. Y'all know how I be. I get a little giddy sometimes. You know what I'm saying? No.
But it's funny though. you know, Merle Reese was on that. He was on somebody's show, and he said he asked Vic, what do he think about the guys he had on defense, and Vic answer to him was, ask me that question in November. We in November, so I guess we seeing his answer right there.
He understands it takes time. He's not going to come out and start talking about good or bad when the team ain't had a chance to gel. You know what I'm saying?
Got that right. Man, I'm glad we got him.
Yeah.
Now we jealous.
I liked his answer today when they asked him about like possibly moving guys around with the absence of BG, and he was like, I'm not trying to mess up any type of chemistry you already have. Like, he's not trying to change anything that Bond's doing or Nolan Smith's doing. Like, obviously they're going to have some extra reps and whatnot, but he's not trying to change the game plan for those guys.
Yeah, because when you do something like that, you really messing up the mojo. You know, Bond is playing. He playing that. Never knew who this dude was. Now I'm starting to see Nakobe Dean playing the way he played when he was in college. Instead of, he's more reacting instead of guessing. You know,
who would have ever thought getting to actually play consistently and not be injured, you would look better? Who would have ever thought?
Who would ever thought? But you know, good players respond to good coaching.
But speaking of great performances, elite performance of the game against the Rams, Benny Boone. You got guess who you got?
Okay, I'm gonna let everybody else have this one answer.
First.
But mine's is, if it wasn't for the 5 guys up front, somebody wouldn't have had that 302. I'm going with the offensive line. Because it starts right there.
Milton Williams. Boy, is balling.
I like it. Wyatt, who you got?
I'm going to go with A.J. Brown. Dude had the quietest 100-yard game out of anybody. And like nobody talking about him because the whole like 300 yards with Saquon going off. But AJ out there balling, and he only had like four catches or something. And it's crazy. He's in like the top 10 receiving yards. He only played 8 games, which is nuts.
Yeah, he's at 7 something. He's gonna get 1,000.
So I'm gonna shout out Saquon Barkley, right? Gotta shout him out 300 yards, but he's not my pick because it's too easy. But I gotta shout out Saquon Barkley. But my guy, and I'm gonna pick, this is an easy one as well, I'll be honest. Quinyon Mitchell. Another stellar performance. It's another really good receiver. What did Puka do against my boy Quinyon? In the words of Nori, yeah, that's what he did. And that's the type of thing we got to have to win.
Yeah, Cooper Kupp didn't do nothing against Dijon either. Cooper had Cooper Kupp locked down.
Yeah. But you know, the whole thing was Puka. What are they going to do about Puka? Puka's back, Puka's healthy, Puka's big, Puka's strong. So is Quinyon Mitchell. I refuse to say that nickname that he likes. I don't know why that man wants to accept that nickname, but that's up to him. He's a grown man.
Quinyon Obey.
Yeah, you talking about Quinyon
I'm
Obey?
gonna call him Quinyon Mitchell. That's what I'm gonna call him. I'm not doing it. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna respect the fact that he's good with it, but I'm not using it. It's not my thing. It's not my cup of tea.
Got you.
I think his name should be more aggressive, more strong. You should be saying it from your chest. You know what I'm saying? Deep down under your diaphragm, instead of it's just coming from the bottom of your throat. That's how I feel like that comes from. So that's just me. That's just me. You know what I'm saying?
Queen Island. That's what it is.
That's kind of he needs something completely fresh, but not that 1-8 that he got.
The Island of Rebels.
Got to move it to the weakest link. Beaver, I'd like for you to go first on this one because you don't be playing. What you got, D?
No mother effing play slave.
Why?
You had to pick someone. Yeah.
For the rest of the season, I'm going to have a heart attack. Leave him out there with ball bear. All right. Okay. Put him on IR, please. Please. Just find some type of injury and put that man on IR because he's just not lasting through the games. And I'm sick. I'm sick of no place. Like he made one play, and that was it. He gone.
Well, he in concussion protocol, so we don't got to worry about.
He always do something.
But even so, like, let this dude sit a couple weeks or at least rotate. Like, don't have him start. Like, he's obviously not healthy. He does no good going out every other play.
We ain't got to worry about him this week.
5 minutes of the game. Good. I'm glad. Good.
Yeah, I can tell you we ain't got to worry about him this week. That's what I can tell you.
I'm glad. Hopefully next week.
Benny, who you got? Benny, who you got?
I got to go with Nick, man. That holding call penalty where he's gonna decline the penalty and then change his mind. Come on, dog. Come on. You lucky they gave you they let you do that. If it was any other referees and they said no, you declined it. So and that could have made a somewhat a different outcome of the game.
Anytime you saying Nick's the problem or Nick's your weakest link, there's one person on this panel that's with you, it's me. I completely agree. You want to say Nick?
He always my weakest link. Always my weakest link.
But it's always the right answer. It's always the right answer. Why do you got?
My honorable mention is going to be the red zone play calling, but the weakest link of the whole game is these refs. These refs were atrocious. The only reason that the Rams had 2 scores on the board is because of those refs. Just handing them these penalties.
I don't know what they were seeing.
These dudes need to be investigated. This was terrible out here.
Yeah, man. Because did you see how many times Jalen Carter was being held?
Listen, they missed the pass. They missed the hole. They missed the PI on during AJ Brown, but called on everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, man!
I just want to say Wyatt took both of mine, right? But I knew somebody was gonna do it, so I even had a third. The wide receiver group without AJ Brown, less AJ Brown, was the weakest link. What did they do?
Not a near another.
That's why Saquon had 300 total yards. AJ had 100. Everybody else like, we just don't stand around and watch them and maybe block every once in a while and cheer. They didn't even let them do this in the celebrations.
Hold on. The tight ends didn't get that many catches either, but they did some hell of a blocking, though.
They never do. They don't throw the tight end unless it's one big play where they get down the field or a couple of hot reads. They don't really throw it to the tight ends, but that's the problem. There's too many weapons. So the thing too, like even to defend against my own weakest link, right? There's too many weapons. So what happens is you don't have Devontae Smith. So without Devontae, obviously Saquon having a great game, a masterful game. But you can't have Saquon getting 255 running, another 40-some, 47 receiving or something like that. You can't have that. Then you can't have the rest of the receivers get 100 yards. The tight ends get 50 to 75 each. There's not enough plays in the game for that. So, but my problem is you're not even getting a couple of catches for 5-10 yards. Like, you're just chilling. You're just like, Saquon and AJ got it. Devontae ain't here. AJ got it. AJ will pick up the slack. Like, y'all got to get involved too. You know what I'm saying? Get open. Keep getting open. At some point, Jalen will find you. But you got to get open when you got the opportunities. You can't depend on 2 of the big 3 every week to be the main ones that get the yards. There's games where people are going to start saying, whatever it takes, we got to take AJ out of this game. Whatever it takes. If that's a double team and somebody over the top, he cannot get off. Everybody else got to step up. Devontae got a hamstring injury. He's not going to play this week. Let's be honest. Hamstring injuries, we saw that with AJ, a finely tuned athlete. He was out, 3 games and the bye. So we're not going to see Devontae for the next couple of weeks. That's what it is. The type of injury he's got.
At this point in the season, you want to make sure he's good for the end of the season, going in the playoffs and everything.
Exactly. So Jahan got to step up. We lost to Nias Williams because we decided to let people see what he could do and then put him back on the practice squad. That could have been a weakest link as well. But it is what it is. It is what it is. Got a few more comments here, gentlemen and lady. So Candy says, at the trade deadline, Vic said he got everything he needed. That's his answer. Key says, yo, we know you.
He in the building.
He in the building.
Then Key says, I knew Diva was ranting about Slay. Laugh out loud. You know.
He had to get on his ass.
Then Key says, darn, when I don't come on, Benny is on. That's why you come on, Key. Steve is in the building. Steve said, howdy, with the correction. He says, let me say this. Those refs didn't want to call anything on Sunday night and miss the challenge flag. Yeah, that was wild. We'll definitely get into that. Steve says, Steve says 255 rushing yards as well. Yes, and Key says, I'm cooking. Laugh out loud.
I'm coming for a plate.
Right.
But yeah. So good people, we're gonna hit that first commercial break here real quick. We're gonna slide back in the building. We got a lot left to talk about. Y'all already know what it is. Eagles Elite Podcast on another winning Wednesday. I like the sound of that. We need to keep making those happen. You hear that? Eagles winning Wednesdays. In order to have winning Wednesdays, we have to win. Let's go.
Rams fans all around the world.
It's a beautiful thing to be a Rams fan right now. Stafford's back. We're going to see about Cup. And running back Kerryon Williams to a return.
Lend me your ears, or should I say lend Playmaker your ears, as he breaks down week by week everything in the Los Angeles Rams canon.
Number 99, Aaron Donald. Can't wait for 2029 to come to know that you are going in the Hall of Fame, and it should be first ballot, no questions asked.
Join the Playmaker as he breaks down everything Los Angeles Rams style in Ramily Talk on the Playmakers Blog Network YouTube channel and where you can find podcasts. Join Ryan McCarthy.
I became a Jets fan because Kermit the Frog was my favorite Muppet because he was green, and the Jets wore green. That's how I became a Jets fan.
And Dustin Henry.
ESPN is cashing all in on let's pay a few personalities and we'll just kind of fill in the gaps.
As they walk you through all of the world of sports from their perspective.
The Albany Empire, it's a literal circus.
No credentials required. Where, Ryan, say the tag.
Where you don't need a press pass to talk sports.
Live every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central on YouTube and where you can find podcasts. Oh, yes. The tradition, the pageantry, the spectacle, the history, the slut. Wait. I gotta rep my brother's stuff right. All my DMV soldiers, stand up! And welcome to the Commander's Gridiron Report. You want your commanders to be repped right? Well, D. Willie is your man. Commander's Gridiron Report. Every Tuesday at 11:05 a.m. Eastern, 10:05 a.m. Central on the Sotoba Media YouTube channel. Music by J. Cool. Whether it's news, the largest egg producer finds bird flu in chickens at a Texas plant, weather, devastating tornadoes rip through the heart of the United States, inspiration, a breast cancer survivor completed the journey of chemotherapy and now begins a future one of matrimony, or sports. Michael Jordan is shown on a photo with Diddy. LeBron James has a video extolling the virtues of a Diddy party. This has been yet another Beating a Dead Horse presentation. We got you covered. BS3 Network proudly presents The Morning Shift with Cole Johnson. Live every weekday morning beginning April 29th at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central.
All right, good people, there you have it. We back in the building. And y'all know what time it is. Time to review that, I ain't gonna say masterpiece, but wonderful game against the Rams. No reason why it's a winning Wednesday, that whole thing. So, Benny, you are our guest. But even though you're our guest, gotta let the diva go first. Diva.
Ladies before Jonathan, man.
What are your thoughts on the Rams?
It kind of ended like I expected it. I guess I want to say the first few red zones that we had was horrible. Like, you can't march down the field like that and then not press it in end zone. As my brother say, I want like 78,000 touchdowns, and I do. And I sure do. I feel like if you go all the way down the field and you make good plays like that to get to the red zone, then you should be in the red zone with a TD. We are known as a second half team. We've been for the past few years, but when you're playing in the playoffs, you can't do that. Like, you got to capitalize when you're down there. So that means you got to be more creative when it comes to the red zone. I don't really know if that's on the coordinators or if that's on Jalen, because Jalen still tends to hold the ball too long. And I know one of the plays he overthrew AJ. Like, I don't even know who he was throwing to. He threw it in the stands to the fans. I guess he was throwing it him, hoping they was gonna make a touchdown. But we got to do better when it comes to the red zone, honestly. But the O-line is playing magnificent. I mean, if we didn't have the O-line that we had, Saquon wouldn't be able to get the yards that he's getting. I mean, which, he's small. Once he hit a hole, he hit it and he's gone. And you can't stop that boy. But that, I got to give props to that O-line. Like, that's the best I've seen the O-line, especially with Kelsey being gone, that I've seen us play. Mekhi Becton is a beast, man. Like, he's just a beast. Landon Dickerson, on our center, like, they're just beast mode out there. Defense is amazing. Like, they're getting better and better each week. The first couple of plays, they was kind of trying to figure out Matthew Stafford. But then they started figuring him out and they started going for his head. Quinyon Mitchell, like my brother said, did wonderful on Nicole. I mean, of course, he got a few catches and, a few yards after the catch. And Cooper Kupp was basically a non-factor. Dejon held him down the whole time. You even had CJ GJ was out there doing his thing. Like, defense is eating. BG was magnificent before he got hurt, like, going after the quarterback. Nakobe Dean is finally the Nakobe Dean that we knew he could be. Josh Sweat has actually stepped up, which I'm surprised because Josh Sweat was absent for a long time. So yeah, like, the defense is playing on all cylinders, and I like the fact that Vic can always readjust. Like, if something ain't going right the first few plays, that man readjusts quick, and then the boys know how to readjust when he readjusts, and that's the main factor, because if the coach readjusts but the players can't, it ain't gonna work. But they both readjust at the same time, so it was a very good game. We probably could have scored 40, maybe 45 if we would have went in and scored the first touchdown. But yeah, I wouldn't worry. A lot of people was worried about this game, but I wasn't really worried. And we showed that we can really be a contender, and our defense is there.
Oh, I gotta go off topic for a little bit, y'all. For just a minute, I gotta go off topic. So my sister wants a touchdown every drive. You hear me?
I do too.
I've been on the phone with her.
Why not?
And it's not even like, don't get me wrong, I want a touchdown every drive too. But if we get a field goal, she's mad. Right? But here's the part that's great, right? I've known her obviously her whole life, right? So I remember when she was just a little baby in the crib, right? And I remember when she started walking. And I remember when everyone was trying to get her to be a fan of their team, but me, right? I got a brother that's a Commanders fan, so he say, but he likes the Ravens now too, right?
Oh Lord.
We got a brother that's like this Lions fan, got a brother that's a 49ers fan. So when she was at that point where she started watching sports and she was picking her teams, they all trying to con her into watching their teams. I ain't saying nothing, right? I just watch the game, talk about my team, I ain't saying nothing. I ain't go to her and try to give her lollipops and, you know what I'm saying, try to bribe her. And she came to my side, y'all. And now I'm sitting here doing a show with her. You know what I'm saying? So I just got to get it out real quick. I love doing this show with her. I love these guys that come on. I love Wyatt too, but to know somebody with a baby and be doing the show with them, it's just great. You know what I'm saying? So I had thrown it out there. It's Thanksgiving coming up tomorrow. I'm thankful that my sister's on here doing the show with me. Benny, what you got? I'm gonna have to turn my camera off for a second so I can wipe my eye.
Oh, brother.
Well, here's the thing. You know, I'm gonna leave the offense alone. You know, I'm just so amazed on how these two young bucks, Queon, Coop, you know, they holding up. They accepting a challenge from everybody. You know, they not backing down. And that's the type of toughness you need when you play defense. You can't back down to anybody. You know, all week before this game happened, that's all they kept saying. You know, I'm hearing, well, now you're going to go up against two polished receivers. Coop, he didn't back down, not one bit. Every time Cooper Kupp got a pass, the Gene was right there. Bam, bam, bam. I didn't know I knew the boy was good. I didn't know he was this damn good. This damn good. And Mitchell, if it wasn't for the garbage time, well, truthfully, Sidney Brown was supposed to be in that spot. And Cooler, he wouldn't have got that touchdown. Because Queon had to try to make up ground to try to stop him from scoring. Because Sidney Brown, he should have been my weakest link. That should have been my weakest link right there. But I mean, this defense, man, I'm just loving what these coaches is doing. Much respect to Clint Hurt and the rest of these guys, mainly Vic, from putting these guys in the right position. You know, I understand you get out there, you get the feel of what the offense is doing, and once you figure out what they're doing, you make your in-game adjustment, not halftime adjustment, first quarter adjustment. It's so amazing just to see these young guys just playing Eagles football, the type of football that I'm so used to seeing, that I grew up watching from the late 70s up to now. You know, see, y'all grew up in the Midnight Green. I grew up in the real Kelly Green era, where toughness, playing from the heart. Dick Vermeil says he want players that got heart, because that's a true player. And these two young boys, man, they got heart, man. They really got heart. Okay, Iowa is a big school. I get that. But Toledo, everybody wanted us to get the boy Arnold from Alabama. I'm glad we got Queon. I'm glad we
Not everybody. Not everybody.
I didn't want him.
I want Queon all the way.
All the way. All the way. Because just because you're from a small school and you wasn't playing against these big time schools, that don't mean nothing. Football is football. Football is football. And when I saw that boy at the Senior Bowl, how he was going up against all these receivers that played at the big schools, and he was shutting them down, I said, oh, we got something. Queon Mitchell reminds me of Eric Allen, one of the all-time Eagles great. And if this dude don't make it into the Pro Bowl this year, I'm gonna be hitting Dom, whatever his name is. He's a beat writer here in Philadelphia, where he got pulled for Philadelphia players to get into the Hall of Fame. Eric Allen got to get in there, but I got to ride with my defense. I'm gonna let y'all have the offense. Don't I just like, I watch football for defense. I don't care. I do care about watching the offense score, but I get more excited when I see somebody get their snot knocked out of their nose. I like the hard hits, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to echo Diva's statement about the offense needing to be scoring more points out here. And the only reason I say that is because of the successful drives that they were having. It would be different if, like, they were fighting tooth and nail, they were struggling to get to the red zone. And yeah, you could take those 3 points, you're happy you got them. But we were moving the ball relatively easy getting to the red zone. Like, there's no reason you can't be out here scoring points. Especially with the talent you have, even though you didn't have it, you still have, you have Dallas Goedert. It just seemed like they were kind of scared to throw into the red zone. They were always just trying to run the ball.
Yeah.
All these QB runs, when we haven't even really been seeing that too much over the past couple of weeks, other than just Jalen trying to escape the pocket and rolling out. It seemed like they were actually going with a lot more QB draws in this game for some reason, even though they weren't working, with the exception of one. It just didn't seem like they were trying to force the ball into the red zone whatsoever. I mean, you had the AJ touchdown. He did try to throw one to Goddard, and he overthrew it just a tad. But there really wasn't too many throws in the end zone at all. And for some reason, they weren't using Barkley that much within the red zone as well. And that seems like to be a theme over the season overall. It seems like when we're scoring touchdowns, we're either getting right up to the line within 1 or 2 yards, and then we're, pushing it in, or they're having huge plays, whether it's Saquon running for 30, 40 yards outside of the red zone to get the touchdown, or Jalen's bombing it into the end zone. I just don't know what the issue is. Like, they have the personnel to get these touchdowns. It's just, I don't know if they're scheming. That's the issue. If the guys just aren't getting open, maybe it's a Jalen issue. I don't know what it is. Cause you can also say the same thing about what you're saying, Cool, where you need to get some of these other guys involved. Like, you haven't been really seeing Dotson at all. I mean, he's had one catch, maybe a game. He had a couple big plays a couple weeks ago, but they haven't really been going his way at all. I believe they tried to throw one to Johnny Wilson this game, and that should have been a pass interference, and that wasn't called. But it doesn't seem like they're trying to force it to anybody else other than AJ, because that's kind of their security blanket. Whereas, like, Goddard has his moments of weakness, like he's fumbling or something like that, or he just doesn't catch it, but he's still getting open a lot of the times, and he's getting yards after catch. Like, you should be able to scheme him open pretty easily. We saw it over the past couple seasons, how you're able to do that. It's just weird that they're not choosing to do that. I don't know if it's just Kellen Moore's game plan, where you're running, pounding the rock, and then you go to play action. I don't know what it is. I feel like we've seen some of the designs, like you see on Twitter, how they're actually working to scheme Devontae or AJ open, but we're not really seeing that happen a lot with some of these other guys. Like, I know we hate to say the dude's name, but Quez Watkins, as bad as he was, they were still trying to get that dude the ball every so often, and they were trying to get him some big plays, but we're not really seeing that with like Jahan Dotson or some of these other guys. For some reason, it's just not working out. When there's going to be times, like you were saying, Cool, they're going to be taking AJ out of the game. They're going to be taking Devontae out of the game. They may even take Saquon out of the game for a couple quarters. Who knows? And you're going to have to go to some of these other guys. But if you're not getting these guys ready to, step up in these situations, it's going to be hard to get them going. And I feel like that's my only kind of nitpick about this game. Because, I mean, the defense, they did exactly what they needed to do. Without the refs, Rams are probably only putting up 10 points, 13 points without those gifted touchdowns that they had. So, I mean, the defense did exactly what they needed to do. Defensive line was putting mad pressure on them, even without BG in there. They were just picking up right where they left off, which is exactly what we need. And hopefully that camaraderie grows a little bit more. Even though BG's gone, he's still in the building. That'll help them out. But I mean, my only nitpick about this game was just the offensive, like the red zone play calling and just not spreading the ball around a little bit more. Because I feel like that would not only help some of these guys get ready, but that's going to help Jalen in the long run as well, especially like building his trust with some of these other players like Johnny Wilson or John Dotson. I understand you want to get it to your top, player like AJ or Devontae, but you're not going to be able to go to them at all times.
Yeah. Key says a lot of what I was going to say right here. So we can kind of kill two birds with one stone. Key says, besides the refs being horrible, we started out slow and as usual, but we got it together. I like how we're running the ball, but we still got to spread the ball, especially Smitty being out. So yeah, where I really wanted to go was kind of Wyatt's touched on some of it as well. Wyatt is still on my thunder today. I'm starting going before Wyatt. That's probably
great minds think alike.
For me, yeah, the biggest thing for me is I just want to see the other guys start to eat. Like Saquon said about the running backs. I need AJ to go to Jalen and say, look, man, I want to get mine, but these other guys got to eat too. We've got to get it so that I can't make a play. I'm not in the game. Something happened and I got to step off the field, or I missed some time or whatever. We have to have other guys that you have confidence in game situations to throw the ball to. And I think that's the concern I have, like moving down the road for the team. Defensively, yeah, it's going to take time for whoever is going to be filling the snaps that we were getting from BG and Huff, even though we was dogging Huff for most of the season. And rightfully so. I'm not trying to say nobody wrong for doing so. I'm just saying we were. But he was starting to come on before he got hurt. And we're going to have to, whoever's going to replace them, it may take some time for them to get acclimated for us to look as good as we looked this last couple of weeks. But I still think we'll be fine. But the biggest thing is offensively. Now, y'all know I'd be laughing at them because Diva and Wyatt, boy, I'm going to tell y'all right now, we got a chat that we be in when the games are going on. And let me just say this, right? I'm not going to call anybody out because I ain't going to call myself out either. But let me say this. If you are in that chat at certain times in the game, you would be like, oh my. Wow. These are some of the expressions you would have. Some of the things you'd be thinking, right? But I like overall what we're doing. I love that Saquon had this big game to put him, if I remember correctly, now he is number one in rushing right now. Of course, we still got time to play. He still, can be taken out of some of the games based on how the game plan goes. But as of right now, he's a big dog. And the Ravens haven't had their bye yet. So he's still going to get a week to get a bigger increase in him. He's only one of two backs, him and King Henry, only two backs over 1,000 yards already. So they're both having great seasons, but we're going to talk about Saquon more because he's the Eagle. I love what he's doing, but I just want the team to make it easier for him and allow me to explain for those who might be like, what are you talking about? So when you spread the ball around, right, which Lamar Jackson, and I'm using this tangent because I see Jalen as a better throwing version of Lamar Jackson at his peak, at his best. He's hitting those guys, right? If Bateman's open, he's getting the ball. If Deontay Johnson open, he's getting the ball. Flowers open, he's getting the ball. Andrews open, likely open. Jimmy Joe Johnson, the fourth wide receiver, if he open, the ball's going, right? And that's where I want to see Jalen get to, right? That's the thing that I think in our Super Bowl year, he did a little bit better job of, is getting the ball to everybody. In the year we won the Super Bowl, Nick Foles was just like, I don't care who's open, I'm giving you the ball. And that's what we need, right? There's times where you say, I need a big play. I know my big play dude, is 1K always open, right? I know that's the dude to go to when I need a big play. I throw that thing up there, he's going to make the play. I throw that thing in the middle of the field, he might break it for 30, 40 yards. But Dotson getting his, we got Britton Covey back, Covey getting his. Covey's really the one who cost us a Nias Williams, if we want to be honest. Because if he wasn't there, Nias Williams wouldn't have been a practice squad and got snatched up by Miami. That, I think, might hurt 2 or 3 years of their lives. Throw that out there. But get those guys involved. They may drop the ball. That's okay. Get them the reps. Get them in the game. Start to work them in with Jalen so that if situations come up, they're comfortable. They know where he's going to put the ball. They understand when he's going to throw it under, when he's going to throw it over, to stretch out for the catch and be prepared for situations where you might need them. I'm just saying that's the type of things that I'm concerned with at this point with the Eagles. I'm not concerned with the every down play anymore, right? They've shown me over the last 7-8 weeks that they can get that part done. So now let's focus on fine tuning and trying to make this run. And we're gonna get to the next game. That's where things get interesting. And there's of course more I have to say. I always got more to say, like everybody else, but we're gonna stop it right there. We normally take a commercial break, but we're only gonna take one more commercial break. And we're going to take the commercial break after we talk about our next topic. Because we moving tonight, y'all. We moving. What James Brown say, moving? Yeah. Grooving? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm ready to do my thing.
All right, y'all. NFC East standings, NFL playoff picture update. So basically what we're doing here is just going over the standings for the division as well as the playoffs. So we know in the division, we know who's on top, right? We know who's on top. That's the Philadelphia Eagles. Aware of that. That's great. That's wonderful. I love it. Right? Behind us, Washington Commanders. These are two teams who are primed to make the playoffs, and as of now, are in the playoffs. Behind the Commanders, the team who beat them on Sunday. Good look, by the way. A little bit more cushion is always good. We got the Dallas Cowboys. In the NFC, the Cowboys are the third worst team. In the NFC, it's the Giants, the Panthers, then the Cowboys. They third place, 4-7. We're going to give you the records. The Commanders are 7-5, and of course, the Eagles are 9-2. All right. Then, of course, the worst team in the NFC, the 2-9 New York Giants. And
going through it right now.
We won't really talk about other teams on the show, but one thing we got to talk about, if everybody wants to say something real quick, the Giants got rid of Daniel Jones. I think it's the right move. I don't know about the timing. What do y'all think, if anything?
Bad timing.
Very bad timing.
It wasn't. Yeah.
I'm gonna miss playing against Danny Dimes twice a
right?
year. Danny Nichols.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I call him Danny One Cent.
Danny
Penny. One Cent. Danny One Cent.
But yeah, that they're gonna be like, it's a huge cap hit next year just by releasing them.
Yes.
Yeah, you give them all that money and then you release them. Stupid.
You know who's
Give
not
them
mad
that
about
money
it?
to not pay Saquon, and now you don't have either of them.
Well, good.
You know who's not mad about it? Danny Pennies.
And you got
E-Money been in the building. He said, "What up, E-Money?" He says, "Go Birds!" with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 flying Eagles. E-Money makes another comment we'll get to in a minute, but I go ahead and throw his out there. E-Money says Eagles 52, Ravens 17.
Happy
Damn.
guy.
Woo.
That happens. I'll be sleeping like a baby.
Right? If that happened, they might as well just give us the trophy now.
NFL on alert if that happens.
That happened. That means the defense. That means Derrick Henry did not get off at all, and Lamar didn't either, and Flowers and Bateman didn't either.
Exactly. I'm just hoping that that defense will show up and show out the way that defense showed up and showed out against Derrick Henry when he was with the team.
Don't let E-Money get us off track. We're going to get to it. Don't let E-Money get us off track. She says, like, we called up CJ, the tight end, CJ Uzoma, who she's talking about, which he's not bad. We don't even throw to him. When I was talking about, spreading the ball around. He also said
him on the field.
And she says, Benny, you got to come on 7,200 seconds one day. This key show. Definitely. You got to link up with Key and do that. Diva and Wyatt, I'm sure she would love to have y'all if you're available whenever they're recording. Not recording.
Let me know, Key.
Right. Another episode,
you up later.
Your boy's there. But yeah. So that's the NFC East standings. Any thoughts on the NFC East standings, my good people?
As expected.
Is this not what I predicted when the season
Not
started? It
surprised.
just took a while to get there.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna talk about the playoff race, and what we'll do is, since we got to include the AFC, we'll talk about we'll include all the teams that have 5 wins or more. You got less than 5 wins, you're not even taking the time to talk about it. So in the NFC, in 11th, we got the San Francisco 49ers at 5-6. They might be 4th in the West, but they win like 2 games in a row. They might be 1st. It's crazy work over there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's supposed to be the division dangerous. You know what I'm saying? And then
Isn't
at
it
number
amazing?
10, we got at 10 we got the aforementioned Rams, also at 5-6, thanks to the Philadelphia Eagles. Fly Eagles fly, go Birds. Hashtag be elite. All
Go
that good
Birds.
stuff.
Go Birds.
Third in the NFC West.
Go Birds.
They're 5-6 as well. Then at 5-6 again, second in the NFC South, we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa Bay is like, we suck. Nah, we don't suck. We're gonna be even. We suck. Nah, we don't want to suck no more. That's Tampa Bay season.
That's what happens with Baker Mayfield.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Or like I like to call him Faker Bayfield.
Yeah.
But yeah, you do get that. Then second in the NFC West, 1 spot out of the playoffs right now. At 6-5, you got the Arizona Cardinals. I told people it's fool's gold over there. When your head coach is fools, your team's gonna be fool's gold. So, I mean, we didn't know what to say about those guys. Now, the teams that are actually in the playoffs right now. At 7, we got 7-5, second in the NFC East, the Washington Commanders, we just talked about a few minutes ago. In 6th place at 8-3, third in the NFC North, we got the Green Bay Packers. In 5th, the first wild card, 9-2, second in the North, we got the Minnesota Vikings. Remember when the Vikings were like 5-0 and everybody thought they was just the greatest team ever? And now they're 9-2 in 5th place. Now, granted, part of it is because the division would have had to be ahead, but still. At 4th place, leading the NFC South, still the weakest division in football, the Atlanta Falcons. Well, I guess they got some competition this year, but I still think they're weaker overall. In 3rd place, 6-5, first in the NFC West. Remember, 5-6 puts you 4th or 3rd, second. 6-5, first place, the Seattle Seahawks. They're in 3rd place. Of course, the best team in the NFC, which I'd say if they was 0-7, 0-15, you know how I do. The Philadelphia Eagles, 9-2, first in the East, of course. And then your number 1 overall seed, as of right now, the 9-1 Detroit Lions. So, ladies and gentlemen, any thoughts on the NFC playoff picture?
I think it's going to be switching up as far as like 3 and down. 3-7 is going to be switching up over the next couple of weeks. But I think the top 3, top 2, I mean, we coming for Detroit. They just need to slip up one of these weeks. And
You don't know
based
how
off the
Detroit
schedule,
is.
exactly, and based off the rest of the
get the
season for
playoffs.
both teams, Lions have a tougher schedule through these last
Yeah.
6 games or so than we do.
Yeah,
So
they still got to
hopefully
play
we're able-
Green Bay again. You know, they got Green Bay again. They got to play Buffalo, even though Buffalo in a different conference.
Mhm.
But I'm trying to tell you, I got this funny feeling tomorrow the Bears is going to win this game. I got this funny feeling. Don't ask me.
You better go put a bet on the Bears then, sir.
Already did.
We just gotta make sure we come out with a dub on Sunday then, if that happens.
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly. This is to me the game we'll get to in a minute, but that's the important game for us.
Mhm.
AFC side, we'll run through them real quick. 5-7, the Indianapolis Colts. That's more wins than I thought they'd have at this point. They're second in the AFC South. And then moving on up now that Tua's back. So shockingly, and I'm saying that sarcastically, of course. 5-6, the Miami Dolphins, second in the AFC East. But here's where the playoffs get real crazy in the AFC. 7th place, 7-5. 3rd in the AFC West, the Denver Broncos. 6th place, 7-4. 2nd in the AFC West, the San Diego or LA Chargers. In 5th place, 2nd in the AFC North, the Baltimore Ravens at 8-4. And this is all tight, y'all. Think about this: 7-5, 7-4, 8-4. That's dead booty tight. There's not a lot of room for, you know what I'm saying? There's not a lot of room for.
Yeah,
they yes. Woo! Take that. No bad boy. In 4th place, 7-5. 1st in the AFC South, the Houston Texans. 3rd, leading their division 8-3, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the AFC North. 2nd, 9-2. 1st, AFC East, the Buffalo Bills. And then, of course, the NFL's favorite, they're 10-1. 1st in the AFC West, the Kansas City Chiefs.
No, that's the refs' favorite.
I'm just my new nickname for them is I'm just gonna start calling the NFL's favorite. You know what I'm saying? NFL love them.
The golden team.
Yeah, the golden team.
I'm gonna say like my man, my boy say, he called them the Queefs.
Yeah, that too.
You know what I'm saying? Well, yeah, that team. Yeah. Key says we almost there. 3 more episodes to go. Say less. Say less. One more time. Say less. All right, y'all. So take this last commercial break. Come back. And we're gonna preview. I think I've had circled. I've been talking about since the season started. Our toughest game of the year. Don't mean we can't win it. It just means we're gonna have to get it to win this game. Let's go.
Drew Willingham.
In this case, yeah, you put the blame on Kyle Shanahan for apparently not preparing the team enough for the overtime rules, supposedly.
Cole Johnson.
Peyton was considered the winner, and he was the darling of all darlings for Gerald.
With a special appearance by Tyrone Alizé McDummy.
Ain't nobody calling me. Text. Delete!
Join these 2 football enthusiasts as they give you Total Football Talk. Live every Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central on the Sertoba Media and the Comey Media YouTube channels.
Oh, things got a little frozen there for a second. We're not done though. We're not
Whether
done.
it's the men's college game,
The way that this season has been going, yeah, anything is possible.
the women's college game,
And how passionate Angel Reese was at that press conference, they got their mojo now.
the WNBA,
AJ Wilson on Twitter 1 and 2, followed by Brittany Griner, Aaliyah Boston, Jackie Young.
or the NBA.
The Lakers had a 0.8 chance of winning. And then what happened in the 4th quarter? LeBron James by himself outdid the Clippers.
You will get any and all of the information right at your fingertips or your earlobes. Join the Playmaker as he breaks down all things basketball in Shooting Lights Out on the Playmakers blog, network, YouTube channel, and where you can find podcasts. Cool McCain.
You thought you wanted Gunther against Chad Gable, but you didn't. And I'm gonna tell you why. Chad Gable would take everything that Gunther's done and bury it.
The Playmaker.
It was on site. AJ Styles walked out there seeing LA like, oh, okay, then we LA Knight hopped out the car, let's go.
Break down everything in TNA, AEW, and all of the WWE programming. Join these 2 kings Monarchs of Wrestling. Live every Monday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Central on the Play Caller Sports Talk YouTube channel. Join the transporter to Hades.
Your butt and gut becomes one.
Join the reformer of hooker whores.
This is my daughter, Placenta Booty Johnson.
Join the bronze god.
Whenever you are in distress, take off your baseball cap and throw it in the air.
Join your very own superhero of broadcasting, Chris Bass.
So whatever color crayon they get, they palm it and do 2 circles, and that translates to, I can be the black people.
As she takes you through the week's paces in Baseline. Live every Saturday at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central, Pacific Time Zone people, just stay asleep when this is on live and just catch the recording. Oh, I'm sorry. Exclusively on the Chris Bass YouTube channel.
Everything Boston. I love you morons. New Kids from the Block, New Edition.
Dear whatever the law firm is. Sincerely, the U.S. Supreme Court.
Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. Go yourself again, Jason Whitlock.
All right, good people. It's that time. I don't know about anyone else. You know me, I don't try to speak for anybody else unless I feel overly confident. But for your boy, ever since the schedule was released, there's been one game that I highlighted. There's been one game I drew a red circle around. I ain't gonna front. I'm not saying I'm scared, but I'm saying I'm concerned. And that would be Week 13 against the Baltimore Ravens. Now, I know I'd be like, oh, I'll go first. I'm going to set this one off. Okay? So, for me, Baltimore Ravens, there's several concerns that I have with the team as a whole. The main concern I have is the 2-pronged running attack that they have. They basically have 2 running backs in King Henry and Lamar Jackson. One of them just happens to be able to stop on a dime and throw a tight spiral to an open wide receiver, tight end, or running back, which is dangerous. The other one just piles on yards year after year. He's always one of, if not the running back that we say, oh, he should be in the race for MVP. Don't get it because running backs don't get it. Maybe if one of them break Eric Dickerson's record, possibly they might finish second in the vote, maybe, right? But we don't always tackle the best. We even go back to last week, week before the end of the week. There were times even Kyron Williams was just dragging people. If we do that against this running attack, that's going to lead to trouble. That's going to put more pressure on the offense to go down and try to get more points. And it's going to keep the defense on the field more because they're going to run it 5 yards, 10 yards, 5 yards, 7 yards, throw it for 30, run it for 5, run it for 2, run it for 1, score on a 2-yard run. We have got to tackle. We have got to wrap up. We have got to make this contact fall backwards. To stop King Henry, you stop him before he gets going. When he's still accelerating, that first 1 or 2 yards, when he's still in the backfield or just coming off the line of scrimmage. We learned that from watching teams like the Chiefs, the 49ers, and other teams do that. Once he gets going, he will throw you by the face mask without illegally sling you by your face mask on the ground and keep running past you. So got to game tackle him. We got to have gap integrity. If you're responsible for the C gap, Johan Potts need to be in the C gap. If you're responsible for coming off the edge, you need to seal the edge. You have to have dedication. You have to have the ability to focus on one thing, and that's Derrick Henry, if that's your job. And you also have to read that RPO is Lamar Jackson keeping that ball. You got the same problem with Lamar Jackson. If he holds that ball, he run like Jalen Hurts run when he decides he wants to run. But he'll do it anytime. He ain't gonna do it 5 or 6 times a game and stop. He gonna do it until you stop him 5 or 6 times in a row. So we gotta be aware of that. And our safeties, our corners, if they're playing back or a linebacker, if they get switched on them or whatever, they have got to maintain their coverage or maintain those zones, depending on how we're playing, and not come off everybody if Jackson takes off. Henry takes off, you can come off. But when Jackson takes off, you have to still stay disciplined. I'm not asking you to stay with a receiver for 7, 10, 15 steps, but I'm saying you still have to stay in their area. You still have to maintain however you're playing. If you're playing zone, you still have to maintain the zone. You're playing man, you still need to stay a respectable distance with that guy or stay in contact with him or stay close to him, because we can't allow one of those guys to wriggle free and get behind the coverage and get a deep throw. Because Lamar Jackson will throw it while he's running to the line of scrimmage and fire it, cannon on him. For our offense, their defense is not as good as it's been in the past, but you make a mistake, they're not going to drop the ball, Jalen. You throw the ball in the coverage on them, they're going to pick it off. You leave somebody out there and you leave him in the air to get hit, they're going to try to break him in half. You come off that line and you decide at the last minute that you might want to pass and you're not running hard, they will hit your hind parts. They're not going to play. They're not going to leave gaps open. They're not going to try to tackle you by your shoestrings. They're going to try to spear you every play that they can. They are tough. They are aggressive. Ask the Commanders. They don't come out to play any games besides the game of bruised black and blue football. So this is the game where it's going to be guts. This is a game where the young boy is going to earn some stripes. And this is the ability to say, I know what we see and what we normally do, but with that guy at quarterback, you got to play a certain way if you want to win. That's what we got to do. We've got a similar player in Hurts from our end that we defense practice against, but not to the level, because he doesn't hesitate. And that's the most dangerous thing about Lamar Jackson. He doesn't hesitate when he's running. He will take off just like a running back and stop and throw, or he'll take off like a running back and get 15, 20 yards on you, or however much you allow him to get. That's what I got. I think we can do it, but those are the things we have to be concerned about. Diva, what you
got? Yeah, I mean, you definitely got to be concerned about Derrick Henry. I wouldn't mind putting a spy on Lamar Jackson because, you know, he's a runner. He's a thrower. Like my brother said, he doesn't hesitate, unlike Jalen. Jalen tends to hesitate whether he wants to throw or whether he wants to run. So we definitely got to make sure we're tackling. We definitely have to make sure we're game tackling when it comes to Derrick Henry, because that's a big dude, and one person is not going to be able to hold him down. So you're going to have at least 2 or 3 people to maintain. And I need for y'all to clog up that hole, because once he hit a hole, he like Saquon. Once he hit a hole or find a hole, if he can bulldoze you down, he will. So you really have to keep your eye on him. Lamar Jackson, that mug will run around the field and wait for somebody to get open. And I mean, he's hard to catch. Just like you saw in the game on Sunday. Like he ran around, waited for somebody to get open at the last minute. Zay Flowers got open for a first down. So you have to be on your man at all times. Please don't be playing off your man 5 or 10 yards. This is not the game to do that, because you got Bates, you got Flowers, there's a few other guys out there he throw to. So if you really you're gonna have to try to keep him in the pocket. I know I've noticed that with a few of the games they lost, they were able to kind of contain him in the pocket and kind of get him off his game. You're going to have to do that with the defense. You got to get him off his game. You got to make him, you know, kind of second guess what he's going to do, who he's going to throw it to, and just maintain a running game. I mean, we've seen that y'all have been able to shut down running games, but this is really going to be your test of time with Derrick Henry, because he's like a Saquon. Offense, Jalen, you can't be hesitating. You can't be holding on to the ball. You can't be hesitating. Just go with your first thought. Like, it's a lot of times where Jalen hesitates and he's either just running around or running backwards in the pocket. They're probably going to try to contain him in the pocket, and they're probably going to come from his left side because that's the weakest where he's at. So I need you to really be smart about where you're putting the ball. Now, they have allowed maybe, I think, less than 200 running yards, but passing yards, they've allowed like almost 300. So this might be a game where we have to put it in the air because they're not really good with the passing game. But they're gonna try to find a way to try to shut down Saquon because Saquon is like a Derrick Henry. Once he get out, he out. So that's why if it has to be a throwing game, Joe, I need for you to be smart. I need for you to find your players. If they open. If not, run. Take off and run. Don't hesitate. Don't wait. Don't hold on to the ball. Do what you got to do. Be smart. Take care of the ball. Make sure you're leading your receivers when you're throwing the ball in the air so they can catch it and you're not getting picked off. And just play smart. Like, you really got to play smart with this game. And you really got to watch Lamar. That's just the main thing. Lamar and Derrick Henry, you got to watch both of them. So I'm really hoping that Vic can just really watching film and really trying to figure out if he has to adjust, how he's going to adjust, and the boys as well on the defense.
Benny, what you got?
It's called discipline. Lane, gap, discipline. There's ways to stop Derrick Henry, and it starts with the guys up front. Mainly, we need, not saying that Jordan Davis haven't been playing well, but his job is to take on blockers to free up linebackers. But them linebackers have to be lane, gap, discipline. They got to know how to tackle. Don't try to tackle Derrick Henry high. You ain't getting it. Go. Take his legs out. Take out his legs. It's legal. It's legal. The way to stop Lamar, spy him. Because your corners, your secondary is going to lock down those receivers. Those receivers don't scare them. They got speed. But if you spy Lamar, you play that tight, whatever type of zone they're going to play, I don't know, they're going to play man, or I don't know what they're going to play, cover 2 zone or whatever. Whatever defense that secondary is playing, everybody got to be talking to each other. They got to be talking to each other. Communication is the key with this secondary. Because I've seen so many teams, if they take a page out of the Steelers book, Lamar didn't do much against the Steelers. They caused turnovers against them boys. It's ways to stop an offense like Baltimore. Now, for the Baltimore defense, they don't scare me no more. Like that's not the defense of the Ray Lewis era with Ray Lewis and Ed Reed. You can throw on them boys. So AJ should have a good game against this defense. But it's up to the coordinators to call a good game. Get some of these mesh plays in. Stop trying to, do the lateral, going downfield. No. 1-2, bow. 1-2, bow. Cross patterns. That's all you got to do against this team. And they're going to buckle. They're going to buckle. I don't watch the Eagles. I watch everybody. I study everybody because I know one day my team going to have to play this team. And the only person that on that defense that really I have concerns for, Hamilton and Roquan Smith. Everybody else, I don't have no worries with them. But those 2 guys, Hamilton is the key. He is the key. Because they're going to bring him down to the box to help. He's going to try to help stop Saquon. Once you see him come down, that's when you do those cross patterns. 1-2, pop. Because they corners ain't nothing. They weak. They are weak. But other than that, it's called having, they got to play smart, disciplined football. Smart, disciplined football. It ain't none of this 15 plays, scripted plays. No. Nick need to sit back and say, okay, Kellen, you got it. Do your thing. What you do in the second half, I need you to do in the first half. If he let Kellen do that, we got it. We got it.
All right. Wyatt, last, of course, but not least. What's that?
Yeah, I mean, as far as offense, like I mentioned earlier when we talked about the Rams game, they just need to spread the ball out a little bit more. I mean, I think AJ is probably going to have a good game, like most of the games that he has that he's able to be in. But you're going to have to spread the ball out a little bit more, whether you get it to Goddard or Dotson. I like we talked about earlier. I don't think Smitty's going to be available for this game unless he's able to have a couple practices. But I mean, it's better be safe than sorry with a hamstring injury. So I don't expect him to be out there, but they got to find ways to get the ball to these other receivers. Whether you're just scheming guys open across the middle of the field, doing short slant routes, something. Yeah, I feel like they're not trying to adjust. They're sticking with the same game plan they have when Smitty's in there and AJ. I feel like you have to adjust with some of these other receivers. Not everybody is Smitty or AJ. But they're going to have to put up as many points on the board as possible, because this may be just a game of points at this point, depending on how the defense fares. We thought last week was going to be the biggest test of the year as far as facing it's the secondary, going up against Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. I think the biggest test, like Cool mentioned, is this week when you're facing an elite quarterback who's able to run. We haven't faced a quarterback that's able to run like this in quite a while. We were expecting that kind of with Jaden Daniels, but we were able to contain him a little bit. He was a little banged up. He wasn't able to run as much as he normally does. But with Lamar, he's so shifty and elusive. Like Cool mentioned, he's able to stop on a dime. He's able to run around in the backfield for 10 seconds just to wait till somebody gets open, or he just takes off himself and runs for 20 yards. I don't know if you have to have a spy on him, but I think this is the defense's biggest test yet, especially without BG and Bryce Huff in there. We're going to have to figure out something. I think Vic Fangio, it may take a drive or two for him to kind of figure some things out, but hopefully, like you mentioned, you're watching these Steeler games. You're watching some of these games that Ravens are kind of faltering on offense and kind of learn something from that. And unlike last year, it seems like offense and especially defense are learning from watching tape week in and week out during these practices and film sessions. So, I mean, the biggest test I think is Lamar Jackson. I mean, Derrick Henry is Derrick Henry, but I feel like the going back to the last couple of times the Birds have faced Derrick Henry, it was on the Titans, so it wasn't as good of an O-line as the Ravens have, but we were able to contain Derrick Henry. So I'm not as worried about Derrick Henry as I am with Lamar Jackson, just because I feel like with our D-line and some of the weapons we have and linebackers, I feel like Derrick Henry may get some yards, but he's not going to eat as much as he normally does. I think the biggest thing is just trying to watch Lamar Jackson, because I feel like as soon as we start containing Derrick Henry, that's when Lamar's going to take off 2 plays in a row, 3 plays in a row. Like Cool mentioned, he's not shy about running. He will run until you stop him. We saw that through the first couple games of the season this year. He is just not shy to run, and that's going to be the biggest test out of everything. I feel like the secondary is going to be able to lock down a lot of these the wide receivers they have. It's just a matter of, can you get to Lamar? How much time are you going to be able to give him? Or how fast are you going to be able to get to him? And I mean, the defensive line has been able to put a lot of pressure on these quarterbacks as of late, but with a guy as fast and elusive as Lamar, it's going to be a lot harder for them to create pressure unless they're making the pocket fold around him. So, I mean, that's just going to be, as far as game planning, that's what Vic Fangio is going to have to do going into this week. I mean, the biggest thing, it might just be a game of who can score. I mean, obviously who could score the most points, but it might be a shootout at this point. Because just it depends on the offense, though. How's the red zone offense going to look? Is Jalen going to hold on to the ball a lot? Who knows? I think this is going to be coming down to the offense as far as winning this game. We haven't had that in a while. We've been relying a lot on the defense to help us out through a lot of these games, through the 7-8 games we've had since the bye week. But I think this is going to be one of those ones where the offense has to come out and win this game for us. And it might be one of those ones where it comes down to the fourth quarter and Jalen has to do it. He has to use his legs, or he has to make these big throws on 3rd down or 4th down to win the game. Going back to similar to last year, like Buffalo or the Chiefs, something like that. Those clutch moments that remind you, like, this is what Jalen Hurts made for. Those clutch moments to go out and win the game for the team. I feel like it's going to come down to that. I don't think it's going to be like a blowout, like E-Money was mentioning in the comments. I think it's going to be a tight game, but it should be a good one. I'm super excited for it.
So I just have 2 things left to say. All right. 2 things left to say. I'm going to take this down since we're done with that now. I got 2 things left to say. So my first is a rhetorical question. Is Saquon Barkley and the Philadelphia Eagles offense really real?
Oh, yeah, dig it. Yeah.
And hey, Rams, you got a reprieve last week. But Baltimore Ravens, Lamar Jackson, King Henry, all y'all, everybody in that organization.
Oh, I gave it to him last week. You might
Oh,
have
you
missed
did?
it.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I made sure those clips were in there.
My man.
I ain't brought out the cream of the crop.
Told you he did a good job, man.
I might have missed a little bit at the end. I was going back and watching like pieces at a time.
Oh yeah,
and I might have missed a little bit at the end.
I was making sure we weren't going to miss it. That's show
yes,
tradition
sir.
at this point.
Oh, and by the way, because I am a petty individual, New York Giants, Dallas Cowboys. This is what you need to say when people ask you about the playoffs.
What's that? Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
Cowboys still stink.
But good look in helping us get a little bit more breathing room in the division. We appreciate that.
Facts.
And hurting your own draft position. It's like you took the proverbial gun and just shot yourself in both the feet and your legs. And then you ran around talking about winning boards after you did it. Great job.
Great job. Great job.
We will be back next week. Hopefully, we'll be talking about another winning Wednesday. I'm pointing that for wins from now on. And you never know who might be here.
All right.
You never know what we might see or do. Y'all make sure y'all check out our guy Benny Boone, who be keeping us fresh with the derby.
Yeah.
Make sure you check him out.
That's the man himself right there.
That's clean. That's clean. We'll see y'all next week. And we out. Y'all know how we end things. Make sure you back. You know what it is. Like